Hi, everybody, and welcome to AdEspresso's November webinar. I'm thrilled to be joined by the official team from Google today. So today's training is going to be very high quality because we're going to hear up-to-date and official strategies from Google. As you can see on your screen, that's going to be about how to grow your business with value bidding focused on high quality leads. So we're going to get some training today from Alex all about lead generation. Just before I hand over to Alex, a little bit of housekeeping, as always, is that yes, we are recording this webinar. I know there's going to be a lot of content in Alex's presentation today, so don't worry if you don't want to take too many notes. If you want to go back over things, we'll try and send out the replay by email to everybody within 24 hours. If for any reason it doesn't arrive, just go to our website, adespresso.com/webinars, and you can go and watch the replay there. You can also go straight to YouTube. If you search for the AdEspresso channel on YouTube, we've got this webinar will be uploaded there. Also, our previous trainings from Google and our other digital marketing strategy sessions as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Alex to introduce himself. Hi, Alex. How are you today?
Good, Paul. How are you doing? Good to see you again.
Yeah, doing good over here. I'll let you go and introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be hosting with AdEspresso team. It's you guys are such a great partners. So thank you for hosting us. My name is Alex Ioch. I'm here, regional product lead automation in Americas specifically. So super excited to talk to you on specifically how to grow more like a lead generation side of the business, focusing on high quality leads with smart bidding. So coming previously from all digital marketing agencies and clients directly, so definitely super excited to bring up more like a Google perspective here, what we see from interaction of the thousands of customers and all the best practices they do to grow the lead gen business. So without further ado, let's dive deep. And I know, Paul, we're going to have some questions, so feel free to stop anytime to surface them. Will be more dynamic conversation that way. Cool. So this is our agenda for today. So first of all, we're understanding the why behind it, why we want to focus more like a revenue side of the business, focus on conversion values and such. Then we're going to transition to more like a building a little bit more like a technicality, how we approach the strategy of what the things to watch out from the platform perspective, how to be bidding more like a pro and increasing your profits, lead generation. And then, further down to how to actually, once you implemented it, what are the techniques you can use to optimize your value bidding strategies to help you to grow high quality leads. So let's take a look a little bit why do we recommend even for lead generation clients to use value-based bidding. There's not a surprise to everyone that your customers are all different shapes and sizes. So some of the customers are going to be much more valuable to you than the other ones, right? And then we definitely, as a business, want to focus on the ones who are actually bringing higher quality, like actual revenue to the business in the end of the day, or the ones you actually value more. So that's not even if it's all really true for all the client types. And this is what we want to focus on and to bring that perspective of actually going down to understanding how much the revenue, how much expected value each customer will bring to you. But we won't be able to do that if we were to focus only on the number of conversions to just the volume of conversions, right? We need to understand, go step a little bit beyond, dive deeper into actual values, what they bring to your business, so that the system can differentiate. So here on the slide, you can see conversion-based bidding, and all the conversation is going to be woven between difference between value-based bidding and conversion bidding. So here it's more like a conversion bidding refers specifically to target SPA and maximize conversion strategies. So they are all smart bidding strategies, all accounting for intent, they're real-time option signals. But with conversion-based bidding, it's really popular today as well, right? Especially among lead gen clients. You still like lagging understanding how much like actual value they bring to you. So the evolution of those strategies is going to be value-based bidding strategies. So instead of like doing target SPA, which you optimize for cost per acquisition, we're going to be talking about optimizing for revenue of ad spend, right? So your conversion value divided by your cost. or instead of going to grow your number of conversions with maximize conversion strategies, we're going to be more focusing on optimizing your revenue, so maximize conversion value strategies. So that's a basic difference between them. So like, well, one is like also take into account all the signals which other ones are using, but also the value-based bidding, you can be able to prioritize your conversion values in addition to your conversion rates. So let's take a look more like what does it mean for the business. So on average, we saw like actually, for the customers already utilizing smart bidding strategies, the ones already on conversion-based bidding or like maximize conversions or targets PA, by virtue of prioritizing your conversion actions and prioritizing the type of customers and type of users you're looking for, so you can be able to actually grow your business in addition to what you already saw the uplift by switching from manual to targets PA, for example, right? So we see on average 14% increase in uplift in conversion value from switching to targets PA to target ROAS specifically. So it's a good uplift stats, and will help you to grow your business. And so checkpoints, couple things you're looking for from the business objective perspective. So definitely high quality leads, and then the second thing is to actually focus more on your actual revenue. So let's take a look at what are the different ways, like more like a scope of the things or many of the services, essentially how different customers are approaching this from lead generation perspective, right? So the first bucket here on the left, you see that in more like a traditional way of looking at this is the lead volume, so growing a number of conversions. So those are your typical strategies of maximize conversions or targets PA specifically. But then we're shifting a little bit more, and focus now from the industry perspective goes to the growing the revenue, right? And then you have a couple ways to do that. So more advanced one on the right side. We're not going to discuss that in a little bit more in details today. So that's probably a topic for the next session, but you can go all the way down to analyzing lifetime value. If you have those abilities in your backend system, you can pass that information back to us as well. But predominantly, most of the kind of interaction right now is happening to understanding by assigning the values to different conversion actions, you're going to be able to differentiate your high or mid-size quality leads, right? So like focusing more like a quality lead perspective, again, and then maximize conversion value and target ROAS will be able to help you with that, and as well as actually driving the sales value, right? So both quality and the value of the sales can be able to help with value-based bidding strategies here. So how do we actually bid with the value-based bidding, and how we focus on increasing your profits? There's three distinct buckets you need to focus on. So the first thing is really important too is making sure you actually share the best data, right? So making sure you adhere for the best practices from Google perspective, using our native pixels like Google cite tag, make sure you properly tag all your pages, use our privacy safe solutions to make sure you don't lose any conversions, especially for iOS 14 change updates. So stuff like enhanced conversions. If you do have an ability, but it's not the requirement, but if you do have an ability to import your offline conversions and then map it back to what happened from the interaction of Google Ads, I really strongly encourage you to do that. So sharing that information with us will help you to actually bid on higher quality users, right? So that will only help you to prioritize the good engagements. And then, of course, like you have all the other bells and whistles here, but your SIO tag, your foreign conversion tracking, enhanced conversions, and data-driven attribution models will help you to be on following the best practices, really, to understanding where direction is coming from, where it is in the pipeline, and how does it account for cross-channel interaction as well. So that's within the sharing the best data. The second is assigning the value data, right? So you want to make sure you focus not only on the number of conversions, but you also value them either dynamically. So of course, if you again have that ability, we strongly encourage you to dynamically pass information about your conversions to the system, so that each interaction you will know how much actually value did it bring to the business, and then it will map back to all the Google signals about those personalities or those persona who converted, so that we're going to be able to predict conversion value better next time, or you actually assign the static values, which is, I think, going to be more actionable for, in many cases, for lead gen clients who don't have more like a sophisticated tools and abilities on the back end, but you're going to be able to assign different values, and then we use it as a prioritization tool for value-based bidding to actually go after the type of users you value more. And of course, after you do those, like you set up your measurement correctly, you assign different values, then you can be able to utilize our value-based bidding strategies, which is maximize conversion value, or and you can see now like the new updated interface that you like your previously called target ROAS is basically going to be maximize conversion value with optional target ROAS. So in this context, target ROAS is going to be referring to that specifically. So if you have that checkbox enabled and then you have optional ROAS goal set, then it's going to be basically your previously called target ROAS strategy. Right, and then we also have actually the beta rolled out to everyone right now, which is conversion value rules. Is pretty excited about that one. It will, in the cases, in the really edge cases, if you have different geographically speaking or more of an audience wave or maybe even devices, different values you can customers are bringing to your business from specifically for those either devices, audiences, or geolocations, you're going to be able to input artificially higher value for those. So this for some specific location interactions, so that so smart bidding can prioritize those people in those either locations or devices or audiences. Again, so it's more like edge cases if you really see the different profits coming from those. But that's beta already available for you, so check it out. They should be within your tools inbox there. We thought, let's dive deep a little bit more into like actually focusing on what does it mean within like ever-changing digital ecosystem. What do you need to do? Make sure you actually have a solid start, have a solid foundation. We've kind of covered this one already, but definitely make sure you are have a correct setup of tagging. You don't lose any like conversions found from your website. So if you have an ability to do enhanced conversions, that will encourage you to do that as well. In passing down back your first-party data and offline conversion tracking and maybe some audiences, if you track those, it's got to be important. And for more probably for EMEA side of the business, if you're you should like some regulations as well. So the consent policy is really important. So respecting user choice and collecting the consent is really needed within an evolving privacy ecosystem as well. So those are going to be some of the pillars you need to focus and take a look as well. From the sharing the data perspective, of course, the interaction with your business from user perspective takes a little bit more time, so it's not as simple as with maybe online sales. So making sure you track all interactions, like again, it's different from bidding, right? So make sure you track those interactions, what's happening via phone calls, lead form submissions, maybe actual deals closed or opportunities. If you're tracking this from up top of the funnel to all the way down to the funnel, will help you to understand your conversion rates and then how the people are interacting with your business and where you should focus on. So that's going to be the step number one, just making sure you share the data and then pass that information to Google Ads system. And the way you can track it, so you have different ways, right? Like Google Analytics or Google Ads Pixel, which we encourage you prefer from the privacy perspective. It's going to be able to better map all the conversion actions, right? And then offline conversion tracking, you can, if you have the CRM system, you can directly connect it to your CRM database and pass that information back to Google Ads. And honestly, like even like normal spreadsheet will work, right? So you do not have to have sophisticated CRM system. Like it's pretty, the setup is pretty inclusive in all the different ways you track that interaction offline in your business. So check it out. And then of course we have like if you're more like I say the V360, you have an ability to track that information from that side as well to the business. just make sure you track as much as possible the data, especially within that initial customer journey, to make sure we don't lose any important interaction with your business. So, that could be your phone calls, or maybe some a little bit more of a sales qualified leads. All that information you can pass, that'll be important too. If you have some flying conversion tracking updates, I encourage you to do that more like a frequent basis, ideally daily if you can. But if you can't, as long as they're more like a consistent uploads, that's it's going to be helpful to understand more like a conversion lags, since it's important from the lead gen perspective. When it comes to assigning the values, again, think of more like expected values, and we're going to dive a little bit more in details how it works and what are the different techniques we have from assigning value perspective. But definitely make sure you have frequency of those updates passing the information back. Your conversion values are representative for how much estimated monetary value will bring to your business. And if you can't estimate that, no worries at all. You can always have your more like a weighted approach. So more like a ranking which conversion actions are more important to you, and then assigning kind of weights in a monetary dollar value as well. Before we go in a little bit more into the other details of conversion value assignments and how you can take a look at those, so it's important to keep in mind that interaction doesn't, like customers, especially in Gen, it doesn't immediately convert. So they going through the multiple stage approach. They consulting different sources, different platforms. The good news is across the Google, you have like all the different platforms, such as Gmail, your Google.com, Google Maps, YouTube, all the information is tracked and shared within the different platforms. So you can be able to better understand how the user interacting and where they are within their sales journey. But in order to kind of take advantage of that, if you have the available the data-driven attribution model for your conversion action, I definitely encourage you to do that. But moving beyond last click will help you to identify what were more influential touch points within the sales journey, and then really be present there. So the Smart Bingo doesn't really discriminate to which attribution model you're using, but of course it will respect the one you do. So if you have the data-driven attribution model or not last click attribution model, such as position-based or time decay, will take that into consideration, and then the bid for the type of user in actual the stage where it's more important to actually secure that final conversion, right? So keep that in mind. That will help you to prioritize where to allocate your efforts. Leading to business outcomes. So I know that again we touch a little bit more on this one, but you have two distinct strategies when it comes to prioritizing your values. So if the goal is to really grow the revenue, and by revenue means from the platform perspective, you can be what the conversion value you've been tracking within Google Ads. So the maximized conversion without the target, right? So your normal maximized conversion strategies will be the one who will help you to go really prioritize the conversions or prioritize the users, and within the ones you already selected to. So again, your targeting doesn't change. What we're doing with the value-based bidding is more like focusing on real time, allocating your efforts, bidding more for the people who actually not only want to convert. So if you compare it to your volume-based bidding strategy or conversion-based bidding strategies that target SPA or maximize conversions, the value-based bidding strategies, in addition to predicting conversion rates, which say target SPA does, they also predict conversion value, right? But then it's up to you if you want to bid more on a gross value perspective, so just maximizing the conversion value as a whole, and don't really care how much of a return on ad spend that will yield. So that's your choice. You can totally do that. I think it works better, especially with the capped budgets. So if you, in that case, your capped budget will become the level you can control. So if you were to want to get more value, conversion value, you can always increase the budget, or if you want to be a little bit more conservative, you can just decrease it, right? So that's control you have with maximize conversions. The only downside of that, you don't really optimize for a specific return on ad spend goal. So if efficiency is your strategy, so in that case, your maximize conversion value with optional ROAS target, or formerly called TROAS, will be the better approach, because that will help you to maintain some level of efficiency. And sometimes you're going to be able to actually pass on the auctions, so not going to be bidding on the overheated auctions if you don't want to. So you can maintain specific return on ad spend goal, again, defined by what conversion value you're tracking and your cost in account, right? So keep that in mind, the two distinct strategies depending on your goal, really. From efficiency perspective, having that ROAS optional target will help you to optimize for it. And the goal will be really to hitting that goal. And on those strategies, or those campaigns, we advise not to be capped by budget, because it's going to be helping you to hit that target you set faster, since you're not going to be able to, you won't be constrained by budget on that day, and system will be able to kind of pick and choose people who are better suitable from auction perspective, the ones who can yield you conversion value, which will result in your estimated return on ad spend target you want to hit, right? So your target cap will be, unlocking your lowering your ROAS goal will be helping you to be more competitive, and raising your ROAS target will help you to be more efficient, right? So it's going to be sacrifice between scale and efficiency there. Let's go a little bit more and try to understand how the conversion value measurement works, and then from the lead gen perspective here as well. So first, going to the sharing the best data, and taking a look at more the sales journeys between, the differences between your online sales. So we definitely mentioned it's much simpler process probably on a online sales perspective. You have your either cat to car doing the product, and here go either customers purchasing or not. It's a little bit more complex, as we all know from the lead gen perspective. So you can have from all the way from inquiries, so this is example for financing, all the way down to the formally having contract or underwriting in this case. So, and it takes some time. It takes a little bit more interaction with your sales teams, closing those deals, and that's all fair. And then we all can use this understanding of this funnel, understanding this sales journey, to actually be to the type of users who go more down to the funnel, the ones who are actually going to be able to bring more value to your business at the end of the day. So the first step is to really map your lead to sales journey. If you haven't done it before, strongly encourage you to understand it, to see where the interactions happen, and make sure you do track it right. So here's a few examples here from real estate perspective, cars, and banking. But of course, we tons of different ways to look at it, tons of different industries and all particular business cases. So first step is really to map them up and understand where your customers are. Then once you have it in place, once you understand where the interaction is, where the leads to sales journey is coming from, then you can actually assign the different values. And here's an ideal case where you can understand how you can map the different values to different lead to sales journey steps. But you're starting from the back essentially. So you have your closed deals, which could be on average say $5,000 in this example, right? And then you have 25% conversion rate from people who went to sales qualified leads, the ones you deemed actually qualified for your business to interact with, right? And then you just take 25% of the 5,000, and then you get 1,250 is the average sales qualified lead value. And you can assign that value to Google Ads conversion action itself, see if you're going to be able to track it. And that will help us to understand how much that type of users actually work to your business, right? Same process. You take in 50% marketing qualified leads to sales qualified leads. So that is your conversion rate there. So you got 625 and so forth to leads to marketing qualified leads, right? So all this will help you. This is again ideal case scenario. If you do have the data, if you have conversion rates data between each stage of the funnel. But if you don't, again, no worries at all. You're still going to be helping by system to prioritize if you were to just assign more like weighted values. So if you know that your marketing qualified leads is, for example, 5 times more valuable to you than your lead itself. So if your lead, for example, is $100, then your marketing qualified lead could be $500, right? So the weights are more important than the actual values in this example, because the system will, again, how much conversion value you have, or return on ad spend will depend on how much of the conversion values you track. But then assigning the different values to prioritize will becoming your tool, which of course you can change as the time goes to, if something changes from a business perspective, or you want to maybe in the future to prioritize some of the more stages, for example, sales qualified leads. You can assign higher values for the system to value-based system to prioritize. So keep that in mind. So there's no right and wrong way of doing that. It's all what works for your business from the quality lead assignment perspective. And here's just where to do that from the account. You go to conversion actions, you click on any conversion action there, and then if it's a static value in this example, then you just assign the values where it says the monetary value. So there has to be monetary value for you to track it, right? And that was a static value way of doing that. And if you do have ability to actually track, you can actually implement a little bit of code to pass that information back to the system. So just another way of interacting. And this is example of Google Tag Manager to your website. This is probably a little bit more popular than from implementing the code on the website. So if you do have an ability to, again, to pass that information back to your CRM system, of course, we strongly encourage you to do that. It will help us to understand what's more valuable to you, especially if you bring that conversion value back. And this is a typical interaction, what happens, right? So if all the way tracking that Google Click ID from online, well, if once they click on your site, where they go to your products, they go to your landing pages, they submit a lead form, or they call you, all that information, you can be able to track it in that gclead in your CRM system. And then, you create your own conversion action on the CRM system on the back end. Either it's going to be like opportunity created or deals closed. It's up to you which conversion steps you create in your full-line conversion tracking, but then passing that information and mapping back to your Google Click IDs is one way of actually approaching this one and ensuring you pass that information back to our CRM system. Transitioning more to once you have that ability, once you track that information, so bidding to business outcomes, right? We've mentioned some of this one, but let's take a little more deep look. So again, the difference between those two, so from the left side, conversion-based bidding strategies, again, your targets PA, or again, it's called now maximize conversion value with targets PA goal will predict your conversion rates, and then it will optimize for specific cost per acquisition. And in your maximized conversions, will just get the volume of them, but sometimes you're not happy, or you want to actually prioritize some of the more bottom of the funnel conversion actions, right? And to do that, you will need to upload yourself with using and value-based bidding strategies, right? So essentially, your targets PA will become your ROAS goal. I do encourage you not to again anchor back if you were to still use, for example, target ROAS or maximize conversion value. Try not to anchor back to the old KPIs you're using. So some of the pitfalls I see really frequently, if you used to measure the CPA goal, but you know that you want to prioritize some of the conversion actions more valuable to you, then you can translate that CPA goal to return on ad spend goal, right? So based on the conversion values you track in your account. So all you got to do is just to track that conversion values you want to, the way you want to assign it from your business system, business interaction, what you see, or your expected values. And then 28 days later, you're going to be able actually to see how much of the CPA does it actually translate to return on ad spend, right? So like comparing the different columns, like instead of cost per acquisition, you're going to be comparing your conversion value divided by cost, right? So that then thinking more like in the terms of KPIs which you optimize for, right? So your target ROAS will be optimizing for your conversion value divided by cost. That's a target you have, right? And maximize conversion value will be optimizing for conversion value. Try not to anchor back to the old KPIs again, just because it will be cleaner way of you understanding what's working or not. Because if you're prioritizing correct users, you're engaging with them with the target ROAS strategies, then we're not optimizing for CPA anymore. We're optimizing for actual return on ad spend. So it's important to shift a little bit your mindset to what you're looking for from like more of a revenue perspective. And this is a typical example, right? So you're going to have your from the conversion-based bidding strategies, like you can have your phone calls, right, registration, qualified leads, and so forth. So if conversion happens, it's apples to apples essentially from conversion as bidding's perspective, right? You can have one call, you can have one qualified lead, but technically it's like apples to apples. So you probably you're optimizing maybe for paying the same amount for both of those, but in reality you can have like $5 for your phone calls and you have 150 for qualified calls. It's more of like a no-brainer that you do want to value those type of users who actually encompass those signals, who are like more likely to go all the way down to qualified leads, based on your conversion data, based on what you've been already tracking historically. So that's kind of the value of value-based bidding strategies, as opposed to conversion-based bidding strategies. So definitely encourage everyone to understand, and let's just try to set your more like a business-oriented goal on the revenue side. And setting your target return on spend business. So just to kind of demystify the way you should be looking at it. So first step, again, always is to track the values first, right? If you were to, if you were optimizing your target SPA, for example, before, and then you tracking your values correctly right now, so you should be starting with recommended by the system. So it will ensure you don't have any crazy fluctuations in your impression share. So you're basically going to be starting with the same level of competition which you were before, right? So then recommended by the system target ROAS will not only, it's going to be really similar to last 28 days, right? But sometimes it could be a little bit different based on because it will also enclose in itself, and it will account for your conversion lag, right? So they will take care of that as well. So if it's not precisely matching your last 20 days, no alarm. It's just it knows your typical conversion rate. So the smart bidding actually will, as it bids too, as based on different type of users and or conversion actions you have, it will also predict the likelihood not only of them converting and having that conversion value, but also how much, what is the length of your conversion lag, right? So don't be alarmed if you don't see your conversions immediately, especially for the other conversion actions which take a little longer to convert, right? So system already knows that's that type of users usually go to that stage of the funnel. So therefore we want to bid with them on them this specific amount, so that make sure you hit your either ROAS goals or you're maximizing conversion values. So the system will predict that as well. So as the time goes by, once the interaction happens, once your conversion happens, so your conversion action will be assigned to the time the actual click happened, right? So then actually paid event happened. So that's why once you analyze and your performance, take a look at the date range which is not impacted by conversion lag, right? So exclude some of those date range which is could be impacting your conversion conversion performance, right? Because in the future, if the future somebody can convert, your conversion retrospectively going to be assigned to the day of actually click happened. So take that in mind. So once you're optimizing and then analyzing the performance as well. And there's a couple tools and events here that will help you to check how competitive you are, what you can be doing to be maximize and return your investment, right? So we have a performance planner to help you to forecast how much of a more conversion value you can get by decreasing or increasing your ROAS goals. So check it out. It's has a pretty good information there, kind of help you to visualize where you are on the graph. Are you optimal in terms of your allocation of spend between campaigns, maybe, or like what does your target look like? You have a bit or target simulator, so that those low icons you can see next to your budgets or next to your targets there. It will actually tell you how much of a conversion, number of conversion value. Like again, this is prediction based on current data you have. Like you're going to be able to have more or less. Especially comes important if you do have some, event you're optimizing for, or if you want to be a little bit more competitive than lowering your ROAS goals or raising your budget to maximize conversion value strategies will help it to be a little bit more competitive. And then we have also optimization score recommendations, of course, as well. If we have a decent, it's pretty conservative in terms of like thresholds, but many cases you're going to be able to see those recommendations as well popping up. So check our recommendation step as well. Now the fun part, how do you actually take that into correctly transition to validated bidding from your existing strategies, right? So those are the couple things to watch out for and things to optimize when it comes to the transition from like volume-based bidding or conversion-based bidding strategy to value-based bidding strategies. Again, key metrics to evaluate, right? So we kind of hammered it down already, but wanted to make sure you optimize for the right inputs, right? So if you're transition from target SPA, which is efficiency strategy, to target ROAS strategy, which is also efficiency strategy, right? So ceiling how much you want to be more competitive to, right? Then with target ROAS, you're going to be optimized for return on ad spend. Again, it's defined by conversion value you're tracking in your account divided by your cost, right? So that's going to be the KPI, the metric you're going to be looking for. And the goal will be if that is hitting the target, right? So of course, the hope is that because you're assigning higher values to conversion actions you care more, so the more high qualified leads, the system will naturally, if it sees that the new users coming to auction really displays the same signals as the ones who actually went down all the way down to your funnel, or has a higher conversion value estimated likelihood of conversion, right? The system will be able to actually bid more aggressively in those people, so they differentiate more. But the goal will be still to hitting that ROAS goal. So if there's nobody there, and at that particular time, that month, a week, or wherever, who actually displays those likelihood for getting all the way, like similar like conversions, like signals to answer mid to lower funnel, your conversion system will still need to deliver your target, right? So it's still going to go for the conversion actions you can, for the type of user who can within your targeting set, right, to deliver your return on ad spend goal. So if you see the interaction, if you see that, yes, you're getting a good number of conversions, but you still want to make sure you get a lot more focus on the conversions you care about. So simple as this, you can use it as a tool, your conversion values as a tool to assign higher values to the conversion actions you care more, right? So the system will prioritize it as the time goes, and then really focus on those. Conversion volume is important, right? So the more volume of conversions you have, the faster the system is going to be able to learn. So, typical advice from our global product leads is to evaluate performance based on more 15+ conversions you have, or at least a month of data. Of course, not everyone's going to be able, to have that number of conversions in their account, but having a little bit more a longer time frame to look at the performance, especially because you're going to have your conversion delays, right? So if you have like 2 weeks of conversion delay, then you can expect more conversions coming in the future within the next couple of weeks. So taking out that date range within and analyzing your performance, right? Same as it goes with your learning periods. It's going to be really depending on your again, your number of conversions or your particular business case, your lead to sales funnel, how long is your learning period, what is your conversion delay. But like taking out those learning or conversion lags from analytics perspective to looking at more like unbiased data, what falls in between those two, and looking at what is your actual ROAS and how does it actually compare to the target, right? So it's going to be your success metric, or that bit for like target ROAS specifically. or are you growing your conversion value within that period of time, comparing maybe to the same number of days before implementing? That could be your success factor, right? But definitely take into consideration your conversion lags and learning periods. Again, don't benchmark it to a specific number of weeks, because like good news is about having the smart bidding strategies that, where it says like bid strategy type on your campaign level, you can actually click on the name of the bid strategy to see the bid strategy report. So bid strategy report is a really powerful tool. I encourage everyone to use it, because it will actually tell you the learning period specifically for that campaign and conversion lag as well, right? So we'll give you a little bit more visualization where you are from that perspective. So that's like in a nutshell. So but first things first is really to, before you transition to value-based bidding, make sure you track conversion values, right? Because we need to have at least to fully understand, fully try to prioritize the conversion actions you have, at least 28 days data worth of conversion values tracked. Because if you've been tracking zeros before and you immediately transition from like target speed to target ROAS, your prediction of conversion value is going to be based on your historical information you have, and the historical information you have is going to be zero, right? That's why you need to, before going to full speed and value-based bidding, just track the values first. You can still be within your target speed or max conversion strategies within that 28-day window. But then after you have that information, you pass that, then you're going to be able to transition to fully to value-based bidding strategies. One important note as well, so conversion value tracking is number one, but then again, including conversions, the ones you actually, or like even account level, if you're optimizing your campaign on account level, make sure what you track as a success, you include them as yes in conversions, right? So those are going to be the signal to smart bidding system to start learning on them, right? So if you're importing from, for example, new offline conversion tracking, even if maybe you just started to pass that information about number of conversions and conversion value, even if, the time you wait on target speed, we still encourage you to actually track it as a success, track it as a conversion value, so the system can start learning at least the intent signals behind it, right? So both, start tracking the values, but then make sure it's also including conversion actions, right? So that the system will know that's a success. And once you have that data of conversion values for like that 28 days, and you've already been tracking as a number of conversions as a success, then it will be much easier transition to value-based bidding strategies like target ROAS or max conversion value. So make sure you have that information tracking, and you're also optimizing for it, even with the volume-based bidding strategies. And this is also like co-visualization. So this is located within your tools tab, your path conversion lag, right? So conversions, path matrix here, you can see, and you can actually select your different conversion actions to see how many people are within, it goes like up until 12 plus days, right? You can see what's the percentage of people actually converting within 1 day or 2 days and so forth, to help you understand what does your typical sales cycle look like, right? And then how much you're not seeing, how many conversions you're not seeing yet on average, what user conversion value is not passed yet. So check it out, and it's going to be available in your Path Metrics tools tab as well. So it's a mouthful, and I'll pause here for the question poll. Let me know if we have some good questions from the team.
Hey Alex, solid strategies there. So yeah, I've got some questions that come in. I'll read out a couple of these here. So the first one is about what kind of Google Ad platforms that you can use there. Because obviously you've got things like search, display, YouTube. Can you use all of the ad services, or are there certain ones that you prefer?
Oh no, it's a great question. So this is agnostic from different networks or different channels we use. So definitely encourage everyone to look it up more. Like new updates we have for new products we've been launching, specifically from like non-search ones. One of my favorite ones are video action campaigns and then discovery. So really good performance, really good feedback so far from the market. And the team is really doing a good job in tailoring them for the lead gen as well. So for like, for example, in the video action campaigns, you going to be able to actually have that lead form pop up, right? As the people are watching your in-stream ad, right? You're going to be able to actually pop up the lead form where people actually can convert while they're watching videos. So how cool is that? So it's really good. Team is really doing a good job in terms of tailoring all the different products for lead gen as well. So it doesn't stop with search, right? And the good news is that our value viewing strategy is all available across different types of networks. So strongly encourage everyone to look at the different networks, not just search. So yeah, you can be successful in the lead gen on YouTube as well. So check it out.
That's great. When I speak to AdEspresso customers, definitely all the buzz is about video and YouTube ads at the moment. That seems to be a really kind of growth area. So another question that we got, and I can answer this one if you like, is one of our viewers asking what's the ballpark range for a cost per lead in the US? And you know, my experience is more on the Facebook side, but I'm sure it applies to Google, is that it's a huge variation. I try not to really give figures because the variation is so big, but I've seen everything from under $1 for consumer campaigns up to $100 for like that initial lead. But it's all really about the quality, which is what your presentation's been about today, Alex, is really assigning value, look at the conversion rates, follow them through the sales funnel. I still sometimes speak to marketing departments and I say, okay, like what happens when you get these leads? Are they converting? And they say, we don't know, we hand the leads to sales. And this happens all the time. These teams work in silos. So it's really thinking about, okay, not just keeping the cost down, but getting a good value for the lead, work out where your conversion rates are, follow them all down the sales funnel. So just kind of reinforcing everything in today's training. I don't know if you've got any points to add there, Alex.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. So you're like, and it also depends on the user experience, right? So I like strongly encourage everyone to have like as much simplified user experience as possible, because like one extra field you can include in your form, lead form, right? One extra step you need to customers to take, it's really going to be like eating up into your cost, right? So you want to make as simple experience as possible so that you're get users as quickly to your door as possible, and then let your sales team to manage it, and then you actually can track it back. So I'm actually helping my friend from also lead gen client to set that it's both on Facebook and Google, right? So like kind of analyzing things, and then it's really important. Like it's like we call auto repair shop, right? So we're encouraging them. So we actually designate personnel who are tracking the quality of the leads and passing that information back to us, right? Because we want to know how we're doing and how we're pacing to hit the revenue targets. So yeah, it's CPA will really vary from your business, the way you set it up, the way your user journey works. But yeah, on average, just to encourage everyone just to kind of take a look at your conversion rates, so work on that one, making sure you have a cohesive funnel, and then you really track what happens on after, so that we can be able to prioritize the leads you care about with our system.
Absolutely. Not all leads are equal. You really need to be looking what's happening down there. So next question we got here is another one submitted. It's about lead generation. Can you use it just for B2B, so business to business, or can you use it for business to consumer as well, so B2C? And again, I can sort of answer first of all from the Facebook side, which is definitely something I encourage on the consumer side, especially with Facebook, where you've got the iOS 14 privacy changes that can affect tracking, especially where you've got like a long lead cycle, because you can only really track what happens from 7 days from the ad on Facebook. So it's really good to go and get that email address, and then you can remarket by email. You can be a bit more liberal what you put compared to Facebook ads. There's less sort of restrictions. There's still some restrictions, but not as much. it just means they can build up that long-term relationship. You can automate email sequences. So I think it's still useful, whatever type of industry. Is that something that you're seeing on the Google side of things, Alex?
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I think that there's a couple of things in this question from the Google side, right? So like, value is being 100% B2C. I think like pretty much everyone is already using that as well. And then a lot of like upside and a lot of appetite on the lead gen side, just like prioritizing different conversion actions here. We see like also interesting cases where you can actually from like depending on the business model, but customer type comes in mind, like custom shutters or custom like quotes for even like for business or like B2C side, where you can still want to maybe sometimes submit the lead form, right? So it's still good use case. You still can do that. So even if you're having this lead form surface not to businesses but to the business to consumers. So definitely can utilize the same technique and strategies which we discussed today to prioritize more like a type of customers that you actually care more about. Either it's a business or actually consumers. So both applies.
Excellent. So we've got time for, I think, a couple more questions. So our penultimate question is about lead quality. Like, are you seeing a difference in lead quality from leads acquired from Google compared to Facebook and LinkedIn? I mean, I can answer that from the Facebook side, that you definitely, again, like we've been doing across this whole training, you want to look at conversion rates, you want to look at value on there. I'd say that generally, the quality of the lead that you get from LinkedIn is sometimes higher than Facebook. If you're going, obviously it's for B2B because you can target a very specific audience on there. But sometimes the lead quality can be, sorry, the lead cost can be higher on LinkedIn because you generally pay a bit more for a click on LinkedIn. So yeah, you kind of really have to factor everything in, is that you've got to look at your cost per lead and then that lead quality and conversion rates there. So what kind of things are you seeing on Google? Are you seeing good lead quality with Google Ads?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a tricky question to ask me, right? Because I'm definitely going to be biased for sure. But no, I think you nailed it really down in the head because you might have different, cost per acquisition prices and different platforms, but then you might like our customers are sharing different experiences that, sometimes our platform is better from the lead quality perspective. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive sometimes than other ones or vice versa. So it's going to depend. You need to kind of find that spot and then understand what works really for your business. So it will depend, but I think like regardless of which network you're using, I encourage to have some safeguards, especially for lead gen. So free stuff like reCAPTCHA functionality, making sure there's no like crazy bots or trying to submit the lead forms and stuff. So working from a lead quality perspective, really going to help you cross product, right? Not only for Google, Facebook, but LinkedIn as well. So just making sure you work on your content of the website, your like, some of the safeguards there from a lead quality perspective is really going to help. And then, and after that one is, I think the only other thing I'll add on to from Google's side, which is kind of more like a selling benefit, is you do have a benefit of actually people have a high intent when they come to google.com. So then they do look at this. It's not that you just like showing them based on their interest, which you definitely can and we encourage you to do, but also they have like they absorb a higher intent signals, right? So they come into the platform, they're looking for some solution, and here you are actually showing to them. And it's true, you can actually utilize it not just within the Google. So the good news is that for your discovery ads and your even YouTube video attraction campaigns, so you can utilize the same intent signals from search. So audiences like custom intent signals can be able to actually help you to bridge the gap, right? Take those best performing signals, best intent user signals, or people like looking for your solutions on google.com and then actually target them on your display or YouTube network. So it's kind of like more like a benefit there, quite transparently, which probably distinguishes us from like Facebook and LinkedIn. But again, to the Paul's point, I think it's all wherever works best for your business. So I will encourage everyone to analyze performance, your cost per acquisition, and like really the quality of the leads as well.
Awesome. So yeah, the last question we got is just about lead magnets, which is probably a webinar in itself. But have you seen any good lead magnets lately that kind of stand out? I mean, I'll say sort of what I do with marketing. Sometimes like quizzes are really popular at the moment, where you fill in a survey and then you give your email address at the end to get the results. That seems to be something that stands out. I mean, we've certainly done different things at AdEspresso in the past, such as kind of like an ads gallery, like looking at some of the best ad examples, something just a little bit different to the standard lead magnet. So Alex, I don't know if there's any particular preference that you've seen, and you think that's a little bit novel out there, or your kind of go-to lead magnet.
Oh, yeah, it's I remember that question. It's really um yeah, it's a fun one. So I think it also comes to like making sure you keep in mind your the quality of your ads, right? And how you position them, how you which images you're using, right? From like if you're from your like you from search perspective, definitely make sure you're using responsive search ads, which is going to be predominant format next year as well. So having unique headlines, unique value propositions in which one of them, like including maybe some of the keywords that people are looking for. It's like whole like implementation and quality check perspective. I think we see like 5 percentage points uplift if you were to do good strength like responsive search ads coming from like poor one, right? So they definitely helps you to secure a little bit that. And the system, the good news is that if you pair your responsive search ads or responsive display ads, also having that good quality of images there, the system will mix and match those your descriptions and headlines and the formats itself to suit what works best for that particular user, right? So we'll constantly experiment, constantly will show the best performing ones programmatically in real time because it's going to be paired with smart bidding, right? So it only works if you're actually utilizing smart bidding strategies, which we discussed. So yeah, it's like we definitely like lead side of the things, like tracking the right users and tracking the lead to sales journey is super important. But then again, you will like 50+% of your success is your ads, right? So your landing pages. So definitely focus on your less friction of converting. As Paul mentioned, maybe just collect some of the clever ways of collecting that information about their emails, and then help letting your sales team to take the lead and then nurture the clients later.
Thanks, Alex. So I think that's all the questions we've got time for today. Just before we wrap things up, did you have any more slides there? Yeah, and then I'll go and
No,
share
just
my
a
screen
couple,
afterwards. So.
like I guess the closing notes here. Again, we're the focus and the why are we focusing and then helping the businesses now right now to utilize value-based bidding strategies that really focus on the growth. The differentiate your business from the other ones. Really understand what are the higher quality leads, what are the type of users actually going to be unlocking more growth and potential and more profitability. So I think the more like a bottom line there, just don't focus on just on the volume, but more like on the revenue side of and then really that will help you to scale your business. And then on the defining pillars here, sharing the data, of course, everything is privacy safe. Everyone's stored on the back end with all the privacy control, so you don't need to worry about that one. But we're going to be able to actually bid on the right users when you share the data with us, right? So assign the values. So tell us who you care more about. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% precise, but the expected value to your business, that's what would matter more, and then how much you prioritize one conversion action versus another one, right? Using value-based bidding strategies like target ROAS or maximize conversion value will be helping you uncap that growth. And then again, keep in mind if there's something you don't really like see that resonates well to your business, or you want to give it a little bit more, you want to be a little more aggressive or a little bit more conservative if your targets, your target ROAS is your control, you can lower that to be more competitive, you can raise it to be more efficient, right? And if you're using maximize conversion value strategies, the budget is your tool, which will help you to control. So that's on the strategy side, on bid strategy side. And then again, if something like you want to prioritize from type of user interaction perspective, keep in mind that you can always change the conversion values for those customers to let the system prioritize the ones you care more about. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you so much for everyone for joining.
Thanks, Alex. So just to wrap things up, I'm just going to share my screen for a second. Okay, so yeah, if anybody wants any kind of one-to-one strategy services there, we do provide those at AdEspresso. We're not the official Google team. I always give that disclaimer, but we do work very closely. We've got consultants that work on Google Ads all day long. So within the services tab in AdEspresso, you can book one-to-one strategy sessions, ask us anything about Google Ads, or we've also got Facebook ad specialists. And of course, we can consider general digital marketing. We also do tactical reviews. These are 10-minute videos talking through a particular campaign. Also, as a way of thanking you for watching today's presentation, I'd like to offer you a free 14-day trial and 30% off AdEspresso. This is exclusive for webinar viewers. Go to adespresso.com/AE-webinar. And then a little heads up about our next webinar, which is going to be in December. So we're going to round the year out by switching gears to Facebook. That's going to be a presentation by myself. And just by coincidence, I'm going to be talking about how to generate high quality leads using Facebook ads. So you're going to have the full toolkit available by the end of the year for both Facebook and Google Ads lead generation. So thank you everybody for joining us today. So we've already covered the questions. So I think we're kind of up to the hour now, but just that last reminder that if you want to go and watch the replay, we'll send that out by email within 24 hours of this session ending. If for any reason you don't get that, just go to our website, adespresso.com/webinars. And again, we upload the replay there within 24 hours. You can also go to our YouTube channel, just search for AdEspresso. We're going to have this webinar there and also all of our previous trainings. So thank you, Alex, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Hope you have a good day.